Hello, I'm Brenda Thompson, and I am your host of Just Show Up, podcast where we talk to real estate agents about their journey, things that they encountered as they were new agents, and maybe some hiccups along the way, a little bit of everything. So the good, the bad, the trials, all the way through the process. So
Yeah.
today I'm excited that we have Oseni Aruna with us. Welcome, Oseni. We're actually very, very happy to have you with us.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Oseni Aruna. I have been in real estate for 6 years, so I'm excited to be here.
Good, good. Well, we're glad. So, kind of start us off with your journey. What got you to real estate, and how's your journey been thus far? 6 years is
Okay.
a while, so you're probably pretty comfortable.
Right. Yeah. 6 years, but to be more specific, I would probably say maybe four because I was working another job before I got into real estate. I have been in sales for a very long time, but how it happened was I was in retail sales for a long time. If I want to just put out a name there, Nordstrom. I was a
Good.
stylist there. I was one of the top salesperson there, and I absolutely love it. I've always worked with people, and it was something I would just enjoy. I enjoy the expression, just being able to, like, impact people's life in different kind of ways, and just the smile and the feedbacks you get from it. And what
Y-
happened with real estate was, not to cut you off, but what happened in real estate was I just felt like I wanted to be challenged more, felt like I needed something different, something to make me feel like I'm still growing.
Well, and
Yeah.
you worked with a company that is very, very big on customer service.
Right.
So that's great skills that you
Yeah.
probably already had, but I'm
Yeah.
sure they expanded upon those skills, that natural
Right.
talent, to really be something that translates exceptionally well over to working with clients in real estate. So
Yes.
that's a great. I would hope it was a smooth transition, but at least it was a great
Well, we know real
transition.
estate.
So why real estate? Is it something that you had thought about for a while, or just in looking at it, you kind of figured out that was the right challenge?
I guess when I was working, there was another friend of mine that was in real estate, and he was doing it more like a part time thing. And I never knew anything about real estate. It never really crossed my mind. But I was always like, man, I would like to sell something bigger. I did cars, and when I would talk to people, they would be like, well, the biggest thing of cars is going to be real estate.
Mhm.
So that was
Mhm.
when I was like, well, I did the cars. I really didn't like it because it was so many hours put in there, and it just wasn't not to go on a little loophole here, but one of the things that they told me before they let me go in cars was, hey, you're too nice for this job.
Not often you hear that.
Not often you hear that, and I cannot change who I am, as far as my personality and how I enjoy helping people. In that business, you had to have some kind of a different kind of bone. So I obviously left the car business, and I got into Nordstrom, where being nice helps. It promotes a
Yes.
lot. You get a lot of referrals, a lot of clientele, and I was very successful in the business, and I was like, you know what? I felt like I hit a cap. I need something else. And I remember real estate was something that some people around me would speak of, will tell me about. And I was like, okay, let me kind of look into it. And then I just, felt like it was something that would transition well with what I was doing now to something even greater.
And so you started out part-time then kind of doing both?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
And with my luck, COVID happened.
Yeah, that was kind of a hiccup for all of us.
Yeah. So I got in when the whole place was shutting down. So I'm at home, like, trying to figure out what to do because I'm like stuck here, and I'm like, I can't do anything. And I wasn't really big on the social media, so I didn't really know what was going on there. Not knowing that, really that was when real estate was really blowing up.
Mhm.
So anyways, to cut the story a little bit short, I kind of laid back a lot, during that first 2 years of my time in real estate. I was very part-time. I'm talking putting maybe like 10% into real estate. So I was never really involved, but it was very difficult because I did spend a lot of time getting my license, a lot of money into it. So I sacrificed so much time, so much money, that I felt like I can't just let this, like, die out. I need to see this through.
It's an investment,
It's an
and
investment.
it's an investment you don't wanna walk away from, especially if you get just enough of a taste of it that you realize you really love it. You love the
Yeah.
aspect of working with clients. Since then, do you have a niche that you work with? What's been your journey that you feel like has brought you the most success and or some troubles that you've come along the way? We all have those
Okay.
deals that don't go perfectly.
Oh yeah, there's always those deals that don't. I mean, anybody that's been in real estate know, like, I mean, there have been situations where you work with clients for 6 months and they just disappear.
Hmm.
And then you go on Instagram because I'm very much involved with social media to promote my brand, and you see this client close on somebody else. You have there's so many scenarios that's happened, so many learning curve because I never felt like I was good at real estate when I first started because I had no experience. And even when I was in the business, I still felt like coming from a business where I was like the number 2, number 1 at some point, like everybody looked up to, everybody came to advice to going into another business where I feel like I know nothing was a huge transition for me and really a struggle. I knew exactly what I needed was experience. And what I did was I was with a business. I was with first a brokerage. I felt like I wasn't getting as much as I wanted from them, but I was also being there part time. So you can translate them in two
Hmm.
different directions there. So I joined another business because when you're in the business for a little bit, you tend to start understanding what you need, what you need from the business to help you grow. And when I found out, I might need this, I joined another business, another brokerage, which gave me exactly the experience I needed. But
Good.
still, I felt like this is not where I wanted to be. I had this vision in my head. I had an idea of what I wanted to do in real estate. After a couple of years, I left and I joined a brokerage that I'm in right now that, put me in a position that I wanted to be.
And
Yeah.
you're right. There's so much that we learn, especially thinking back to the days of real estate school.
Mhm.
There's so much that you learn there to prepare you. And then yet there's so much that you don't know. And I like to say,
Yeah.
you don't even know what you don't know yet. You don't know what to ask for because you don't know how to ask or what to
Yeah.
ask for. So it does take a little bit of time to figure out, what fits for you.
Yes.
And like lead generation, what types of leads do you like? What types of leads work for you? What types of leads do you have the best success with? And so it
Mhm.
just takes a little while to learn that. And every person is different based upon your own experience, based upon just what you like to do. So
Mhm.
it's different for everyone.
It's different for everyone. Yeah, exactly.
So what has been your favorite or your hardest challenge to come through in your journey?
I mean, the favorite is always going to be helping people and being able to like get them to that finish line. That's always
Yes.
going to be the most exciting part about it.
It's the
And
celebration, right?
yeah, yeah, and
Job
and
well
it's not
done.
even it's just experience. Every time I feel like I go through a transaction, I feel like I gain this experience, this confidence to be able to help out the next person. And there's always like a learning curve. Like I said, I always like to learn. So every situation, every obstacle that I go through, I never look at it as a failure. I always look at it as, okay, this is something that you've learned. This is something that moving forward is something that you have with you, and you can always do better. So which is why I love real estate, because it feels like every transaction is different. Every people I meet are different, you
Yes.
know. So I'm always mentally growing. So I never feel like I'm stagnant in the business I'm in right now, you
Sounds
know.
like you do a lot of great reflection on the journey that you've gone through, on who you've helped, and what worked for them or what didn't work for them.
Yeah, and as far as like challenges, man, there's there's always challenges in real estate. Things don't always go the way you want it to go.
No?
I mean, there's only so much you can control, and I've always told myself in how I live my life is, whatever I cannot control, I am not gonna let it bring me down. I'm not gonna let it stress me out. I'm not gonna let it
Ooh.
pull me back. So with that mentality, it really helped me go through a lot in life, in this career, and to be honest with you, once I was able to like create this mindset for myself, it's made a lot of things work out the way I wanted to work out. So
Because you're focusing on the right things. Whatever those things are, you're focusing on that, and you've taught yourself well how to, I like to call it noise, how
yeah.
to ignore the noise or put it to the side and not pay attention to it. Your mantra, your life mantra there in reminding yourself not to worry about the things that you don't control. We should all learn that better.
Yeah. Yeah. Still growing, but yeah. Yeah. There's so much to if I stay there and talk about challenges, I will be here forever.
Oh,
Uh,
that's funny. I've been in real estate for almost 25 years, so I
oh my
I
God.
I could tell you a few stories too. Yes, I agree. We could be here all day. So, is there something that you have in your plans for your journey, like next goals? or
Mhm.
something that you're already doing that you just want to expand that and do more of?
Mhm. Yeah, I always when I first started, I was always like the buyer's agent. You know
Uh-huh.
how we start out? Yeah, yeah. I
Yes.
really want to capture a lot more, help a lot more sellers and
Okay.
buyers at the same time. But I
Okay.
feel like there's a lot of challenges that comes in the listing part. It makes you grow faster, and something about being in homes and just kind of like understanding the house, the history of the home, puts my mindset in a whole different level. Because the more I know about this, the more I'm able to sell it, and I feel good about it. Being
Okay.
able to talk about something to even buyers, just educating buyers in the process, it just feels amazing. So I guess one of the things that I would want to envision is probably try to get into a more position where I'm having a lot more helping out a lot more sellers, a lot more clientele base, and then just working with more of my family, because my family too are some of them are trying to get into real estate as far as like investments and all this stuff. So I just want to be in a position where I can help out as many people as I can.
Family is a great one. They're a great source of referrals and they hold nothing back.
Hmm.
They will tell you everything about what they like or do not like. Same if you're working with your really, really close friends. They will give you maybe more feedback than what you want.
Yeah, family. I mean, even my sister, when she first bought a house, she didn't even use me, and at first it was like confusing. But then the more time passed by, the more I understood that hey, I was never ready. And this was the biggest purchase of her life, and I just wasn't the right person for it. And so I reflect back and I tell myself, man, and that was one of the reasons why I felt like I was lacking experience. And a lot of time experience comes in different forms. But a lot of times it takes time.
Mhm.
You can't just get experience overnight. You have to learn and shadow people and read and just watch people and understand that some things take time, and for you to grow, it's going to take time. So you have to give yourself time to grow for you to be able to help the kind of people, in some cases that need the help.
So, what's been your one thing that you must always do to keep you centered, to keep you grounded, to keep you moving forward? This podcast is just show up. What's the one thing that you must always show up for or that must show up for you?
Uh, Man, I'm a very hands-on person, so I absolutely like to always see whatever my clients are looking for. You know, so in life, whatever I'm trying to purchase, what it has to do real estate or not real estate, I have to either see it, unless I just absolutely know it. I have to see it. I have to be there with my clients, and no matter where it is, I don't even care if it's 4 hours away. I have to see it one time, to be able to give you honest feedback. So seeing the stuff and just even I've had people reach out to me and say, "Oh, I like this. I want to write an offer," and I'm like, I have to see it. And there's been a situation where I go in, I see it, and I call out some stuff that my potential clients my clients have missed, and I say, hey, this is what I see. If you're still wanting to move forward, hey, this is the things, this is my feedback. So being
Right.
able to see it and be able to guide them and say, hey, these are the things that I feel, just being able to have like an honest opinion about something is very important to me. So I always have to show up. I always have to show up no matter what it is. I have to be there in any kind of conversation, investments, or anything that's happening.
And you're so right to want to do that because we bring a different perspective completely,
Yes.
not just a different set of eyes, but we look for different things. And it's because we've gone through these transactions over and over and over. We
Yeah.
have poured through inspection reports multiple times and
Yeah.
we understand. I'm not saying we're perfect, but we
Yeah.
understand that inspection report better than most buyers do. And where a buyer walks in and they get, and we want this, we love this, they get excited and emotional about the property and they start placing furniture, and that's wonderful. But we're going in and we look at the things that they might need to replace soon, the
Yeah.
the problems that they might incur because of whatever. We look at that, we look at them living in that property and what's it going to
Mhm.
mean for them. Being able to see that and touch it and then have that conversation helps us to be so much more consultative and give better advice. So I think
Mm.
that's great for your clients that you recognize your value there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right. It doesn't mean they can't purchase. It just
Oh,
means
yeah.
you go in better informed.
I mean, I have walked into a property And I remember I was with one of my investors. This was my early days, and I walked into it, and I was kind of like, in a way, complaining about certain things. And he goes, "I like it," and I learned this. This is a learning thing for me too. I learned that you have to be very careful what you say. So, like I said, every transaction is always an experience for me that I always learn. And what I learned is you have to be very careful what you say and how you say it.
Yes.
Because some things that you might not like might be something that they like.
Yes.
So, however, when I phrase something, I always phrase it in a way where it's comfortable to digest and say, hey, this was a little off, but some people like it, some people. I always put in there, some people like it, some people don't. So that way they understand that it's based off an opinion,
Hmm.
but not like I'm just like completely off. But yeah, so these things happen over time. It happens over time, but like I said, I'm in a position where I feel very comfortable and confident in myself. And that's the great thing about real estate. You know.
I like to tell clients that, I don't have to pay for it and live in it. You
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah.
you have to love it enough to pay for it and live in it.
And you always want to create that picture to let them know, like, these are things that could happen, and these are things that so I always try to be as transparent as possible to them. In a way, I always try to put myself in their position, because one of the things that I did before I actually went into real estate, hands on, was I purchased a house. Because I wanted to know what it was like to be a homeowner and the challenges that you might run into,
Yes.
warranties, repairs, all this stuff. So I've experienced all of those things, that when a client is complaining to me about certain things, I'm able to say, those I have contractors that can do this. You know, I wouldn't even stress out about it, because I've been through all of these things, and I've watched, and I've learned, and I've done it myself.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier for me to be able to translate that to my clients.
You're right,
Yeah,
because so many of the repairs, the average person would be very afraid of.
of course.
And we know because of experience that
Yeah.
it's not that big a deal. Call a
Yeah.
plumber, they'll take care of it.
I like, for instance, I notice people that frown upon carpets and on certain part of the floor,
Mhm.
and I tell my clients, well, since everybody's afraid of this, and we can use this as an advantage to be able to, beat up on the seller a little bit, to see maybe we can get some kind of credit for this. Even though it's not something that's going to break the deal, but this is something we can use as an advantage, because I know you guys do not care about carpet, but obviously it's been here and everybody cares about it. So let's use this as an advantage and be able to, because changing a carpet and putting wood floors, we get an estimate. So we know exactly what we're working with. So it's just strategic ways, of like, just, forming a contract that's more comfortable for them.
And using the things that they wish to negotiate on.
It's amazing. I've had a journey.
It is an amazing journey, and those of us who are here years later
hmm
are the ones who love the journey.
Yeah, 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 of course. I think one of the questions that I remember you asking was, what are, like, were you ever afraid at some point? I was like, oh my God, I was afraid so many times.
Yes.
There was so many times that I felt like, man, can I do this? But because every business I worked with, and I've noticed that you always fail before you succeed. In most business, you fail before you succeed, right? So because I failed before I became successful in most of my careers that I've been, I always knew in real estate, I'm not gonna be just great. I'm gonna face challenging times that's gonna mold me. But if I can survive those challenging times, everything becomes easy.
Mm.
So even though I had my back against the wall, I always had that in my memory, that, hey, these are the hard times. But if you can get past this, everything becomes easy. And that's what's been my biggest push. Is like, I've seen it before. I've seen it worse than this before. So when I have that in my mindset, I'm always able to move forward.
It's interesting you say that too, because there are so many famous people, famous in their industry and I'm
Mhm.
thinking specifically of like inventors or athletes, and they will be the first to tell you about all their failures before they got
Yeah.
to success. An inventor, whether it's in medicine or anything else, didn't succeed on their first attempt. They failed probably hundreds of times
hmm
before they had success. The same with athletes. Athletes are great about telling you, I had to practice. I had to learn what didn't work for me. I had to learn what did work for me so that I could excel and get better and better with each and every try. And, if we could only take some advice from them, then we remember that too.
Yeah, yeah. it tends to be focused on the people that are very successful in the business and like, oh man, it must be lucky, you have to do this. They don't know what it took for them to get there.
Yes.
How many times did they fail to be able to get there? And I'm specifically talking about some successful agents that I've seen out there. And I see them very successful. And I have other agents that would tell me, oh, like, oh, they're doing this, they're not even doing. I'm like, look, you don't know. You don't know what it took for them to get there.
Or the time. There
The
are
time.
you mentioned earlier when you were talking about your career prior to real estate and the
Yeah.
hours, and I thought, yeah, but some of our hours feel like 24/7
Oh
sometimes
yeah,
too.
it's definitely 24/7. I'm picking up my call at any time, and I've had agents tell me like, you need to structure your time where after 6 o'clock nobody can call you. It's like that's not possible for me. I love to service so much that, no matter what time I get that call, I'm always there like, hey, okay, we can talk about it tomorrow, or what's
Mhm.
going on. I have showed up to a client's house because he had a break-in. So I showed up at 11 p.m. with the cops, with other people to make sure everything was okay. And this is a house that he just closed on. It was an investor, I had nothing to do. I didn't have to be there because he already had the cops coming, but I wanted to be there because I know that was a huge purchase for him. And I just wanted to be like, okay, this is what's happening. I wanted to be the one that he can talk to because I was the one that I know he trusted. So I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure that I was there present to be able to see exactly what was going on. And I think that, that's one of those things that kind of stuck with him, that he's always been my client after 4 years going.
You built
So
that trust and that loyalty, and he knew he could count on you.
mhm. Yeah.
That's terrific. What a great way to take care of your clients and to build that long-term relationship because
Yeah.
we love the referrals, we love the repeat clients, I
Mhm.
love being able to be the agent for life.
Yeah, yeah, and even to speak on this, I have actually never been to listing presentation because all of my business has ran through referrals. So
That's
every listing that
terrific.
I get is typically off of referral.
Okay.
And when I worked at Nordstrom for 12 years, I had so many referrals. It was insane. There was times where everybody was standing around and I have clients just coming to me, and I would tell them, I was like, go work with this. They just did, and that was one of the things that I enjoyed about it because people trusted me enough to wait for me even if I was busy.
That's terrific. So as we wrap up today, and this has been a lot of fun because I have 10 more questions I want to ask you, but we'll be here all night. As we wrap up today, is there anything that you would want to leave our audience with or any tips for someone else kind of embarking upon the new real estate journey?
I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to touch base on this because I feel like the real estate business, it's very challenging, but I think people, if you stay consistent, and if you spend time learning and don't get a mentorship, you know, uh, one of the things that I wish I had done during my time was probably spend more time training, or shadowing or even joining a team. Anything that can help me grow would have been beneficial. So I think anybody that is looking at to being in this business and is intimidated or feels like there's a hole or they're just stuck, either get mentorship or shadow somebody or join an experienced agent for the time being, because I think that would really really make your business excel, make you comfortable, because I think when people are feeling like they can't do certain things is because they don't have the experience. They feel like they don't know what they're doing. And that was my biggest setback was I felt like I didn't know what I was doing and I'm helping people with the biggest purchase of their life. And it just didn't feel comfortable for me. But when I spent the time talking to other agents that's been in the business for a long time, looking at watching YouTube videos, watching YouTube videos how to tour a house, watching YouTube videos how to open a lockbox because I struggled just like most agents did. I struggled to
Yes.
to open a lockbox for the first time. I was there for 30 minutes with the client. Yeah, try. So I think when you really take the time to learn all this stuff, and the biggest, I think the learning curve would be being out there doing it yourself, like
Yes.
being physically out there doing it. So if you can even find somebody that you can help with an open house or anything like that, that makes you out there in person, that builds your confidence. So that's what I would give out there to people to. Really, don't be afraid. Just try to find somebody that can help you. And even me, I love to teach people, because when I was in a career where I was I was the main person, I would always like to talk to people and teach them how I became where I was at. So there are people out there, even though sometimes you feel like everybody's too busy, there are people out there that don't mind spending 5, 10, 15 minutes with you to tell you or let you be able to work with them to help you in your business.
Yeah, you're so right. And whether that's shadowing someone else or taking
Hmm.
them along on your deals so that they can shadow you and give
Yeah.
you tips and pointers along the way, that teaming up on a transaction here or there, it's so valuable.
If I could go back, that would be one of the things that I focus on.
Terrific. Well, Oseni, this has been a lot of fun today. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on and being so open and honest and authentic. It's been a lot of fun. So I
Thank you
hope
for
you've
having
had
me.
fun today as well.
Yes, I have, man. I love to talk. I used to be doing this all the time, not on podcasts, but just in person with some of my team members that I used to work with. I love talking to them and not being able to do that as much because real estate is slightly different. It's just enjoyable to be able to do that to our audience.
Well, this has been great. I appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This episode has been sponsored by Home Smart Stars. Agents, do you feel unseen, unheard? Maybe wish you had better commission? Maybe wish that you were welcomed and encouraged to just show up as you are and be your true authentic self and have all the training and support and tools to help you thrive in your real estate career? If so, then you need to reach out to Home Smart Stars and make Home Smart Stars your home for real estate.